Sports coverage of Leicester City against Newcastle United from the King Power Stadium. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Tottenham, Nottingham Forest and Republic of Ireland midfielder Andy Reid. This is Premier League Live. Well, Brendan Rodgers says pumping iron in the gym at 7 o'clock in the morning is one of the secrets behind his success as Leicester manager. The Foxes can climb into third in the Premier League table with victory this afternoon. But Rodgers knows it will be more of a marathon than a sprint if he is to bring European nights back to the East Midlands. For Newcastle counterpart Steve Bruce, an endless grind on the treadmill awaits as his side battle to preserve their top flight status. Last weekend's dour 0-0 draw at home to toothless Brighton did little to help Bruce silence his critics among the Toon supporters, who as always have travelled in good numbers today. Despite the dank and dreary conditions, Andy Reid is the man alongside me. Andy, we are hoping to see another expert performance from Leicester, but it's going to be fascinating to see how Steve Bruce sets up for this one. Newcastle have won here in each of the last two seasons, despite having next to no possession, and it's going to be a similar case this afternoon, isn't it, to try and hit the home side on the counter-attack?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I wouldn't imagine he'd be committing too many men forward too early in the game. He'd be telling them to keep it tight. They don't want to concede early on in the game. It'd be an absolute disaster if they conceded early on in the game, because Leicester will want to draw them out of them holes, so want to draw them out of them pockets so people can go into them, so Harvey Barnes and Jamie Vardy and Perez can get into them little pockets and can cause Newcastle problems. So Steve Bruce will be telling them to be very, very rigid early on in the game. And on the opposite side of that, Brendan Rodgers will be telling his team to keep the ball, try and draw them out of them spaces and try and exploit them when they do get them out of it. It's an interesting tactical game here. I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of the play in the Newcastle defensive turf.
Well, the big question was, would it be Maddison or Maddison out? He is absent due to that ankle problem, so Dennis Pratt starts for Leicester in their blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks, shooting from right to left in this first half as we get off and underway with the rain driving down. Newcastle in the black and white striped shirts, black shorts and black socks, shooting from left to right. They made a trio of changes. Emil Kraft, Sean Longstaff, who's back from injury, and Yoshinori Muto are the players who come into the 11. I'll run you through the two teams in full. Leicester, by the way, attacking from right to left in this first half. They have Schmeichel in goal, Ricardo, who's been in good form at the start of the season, Sayuncu, Evans and Chilwell in defence. Wilfred Ndidi will sit deepest in midfield, with Jose Perez, once a Newcastle player of course, Tillemans, Pratt and Barnes behind Jamie Vardy up front. It's an old-fashioned 4-4-2 for Newcastle. Dubravka, the goalkeeper, Kraft, Cher, Lascelles and Dummett in defence, Atsu and Almiron on the wings, with Hayden and Longstaff in the centre of midfield. Muto and Joe Ellington, their record signing up front. We've played 2 minutes. It remains Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 0, and you are listening to Premier League Live in the company of Alex Crook and the former Ireland midfielder Andy Reid. Leicester looking to make it 8 wins in 9 meetings against Newcastle in all competitions. They've beaten them once already this season on penalties in the EFL Cup at St James's Park. And it's Leicester, as you would expect, dominating possession in these early exchanges. Harvey Barnes into the penalty area. Thought about leaving it for Vardy, pulls it back for Perez instead, and from 6 yards out it's a tame effort from Perez into the gloves of a relieved Martin Dubravka.
Well, Newcastle have got off with one there, haven't they? It was brilliant play by Harvey Barnes. Everybody thought Vardy was going to be offside, but he left it for Barnes to run onto. The Newcastle defenders were sleeping, and really it should have been a goal. Newcastle have got out of jail there. It could have been easily 1-0 down after 2 minutes.
Jamie Vardy, whose natural instinct I'm sure would have been to try and get on the end of the through ball, but knew he was offside, allowed Barnes to continue his run, and Barnes selflessly pulled it back for Perez, whose eyes must have lit up with the thought of a goal against his former employers, but didn't hit the shot with anywhere near enough conviction. And here's Atsu at the other end, left corner of the penalty area, rolls it out to the left hand side, chance for the cross from Almiron into the gloves of Kasper Schmeichel. frantic start to this game.
Yeah, it was nice to see Newcastle get a couple of men forward as well. We'd like to see an open attacking game, so for that to happen we need Newcastle to contribute their bit going forward as well. They only had a couple of men in the box though. Would have liked to see somebody maybe breaking from midfield to try and get into the box and support.
The offside flag did go up, by the way, on the far side against Jamie Vardy, so whether VAR would have allowed the goal to stand had Perez tucked it in is open for debate.
Yeah, I think they would have done. I think that's what I think that's good refereeing there. Vardy realised he was offside, so he got himself out of position, and Harvey Barnes ran onto it.
Plenty of VAR interference yesterday. I was at Bournemouth against West Ham. Joshua King thought he'd scored, was ruled out by offside before eventually that decision was overturned. Here come Newcastle coming forward again with Almiron into the area, shot from Longstaff, blocked to the near post. Back to Almiron in the rather garish pink boots. Here is Longstaff in midfield for Newcastle. They've gone all the way back to the halfway line, and Dummett rolls it forward for Atsu. Positive start from Steve Bruce's side, but it's given away to Evans, and here come Leicester City with the elegant Yuri Tillemans. Sweeps it out to the left hand side, and Chilwell, who just loves to get forward. Here's Chilwell into the Newcastle half. The pass was overhit, and it's going to be a throw in here for Newcastle United deep inside their own half.
Well,
get your views on VAR, Andy, because I spoke to Joshua King yesterday after the game, and it was noticeable that when he put the ball in the back of the net he didn't celebrate, and I said, is that because you were worried now as a player that VAR are going to intervene? He says yes, it does take something away from the celebrations.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's the same with the supporters as well. You're seeing supporters kind of not really fully cheering for when a goal goes in, because they're half thinking, well, is it going to be given or is it not going to be given? So it's not good for the game, because goals are the most important thing in football. So we want to celebrate them as best we can, and I don't think fans and players are given the best opportunity to be doing that.
Here come Newcastle attacking down their left hand side. The cross headed away by Soyuncu. Turk at the heart of this Leicester City back line. Formed a pretty formidable partnership alongside Johnny Evans so far. Evans on the ball now, the 3 times Premier League title winner. During his days at Manchester United, he's been openly talking in the media this week about the fact Leicester want to push for European football. And the biggest compliment, Andy Reid, that you can pay to Soyuncu is that they haven't really missed Harry Maguire. Here's the long ball forward, looking at Tielemans. Lascelles clears it up, but not really away inside the penalty area. In the end, it's nodded clear and collected on the halfway line by Johnny Evans.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a good point. They haven't missed him, and he's a smashing player. I think it's helped them a hell of a lot having Johnny Evans next to him. Johnny Evans is a top class centre back. You've mentioned the things that he's won. He really is a top player, so it will help no end having Johnny Evans playing next to him, and the way Brendan Rodgers wants to play suits both of them as well. They want to play out from the back, they want to go on the ball, they're nice and comfortable on the ball, so it suits them all round at the moment, and I fully expect them to kick on. And Johnny Evans mentioned pushing for a European spot. I don't see any reason why this Leicester side can't get into Europe.
Leicester have conceded the joint fewest goals in the Premier League going into the weekend. Contrast Newcastle, the joint lowest scorers. But it's the travelling hordes from Tyneside who are making most of the noise inside the King Power Stadium. The ball fizzing around a very greasy surface. Plenty of rain in the area over the last 48 hours or so, as it's chipped forward by Ricardo, the right back for Leicester. Cleared by Dummett, started every game this season, the Newcastle left back. And here is Soyuncu now, who brings it down casually inside the centre circle. Chilwell, the England defender, out to the left hand side, and Barnes trying to really establish himself in the Leicester City lineup this season. Jose Perez rolls it back for Johnny Evans. Perez still waiting for his first Premier League goal in Leicester colours. He scored 48 times in a Newcastle shirt before that £30 million move over the summer.
I think what we're seeing here is going to be, it's going to be what we're going to be seeing throughout the game. To be honest with you, it's going to be a key factor. It's Newcastle holding a really a really deep line and getting everybody behind the ball, and Leicester trying to pick up them pockets and try and get the good footballers on them balls in the top area of the pitch. It's difficult to break down when you get so many men behind the ball.
Here's Barnes dispossessed by Emil Kraft in the right back position. Almiron showing quick feet to try and get away from Tielemans, who slides in, as well as being a very stylish pass to the ball. Yuri Tielemans, he isn't afraid to get his foot in.
He's a smashing footballer. I've watched him a couple of times for Belgium as well in the last few months, and he's come on so much since he signed here on loan initially, and it was a real coup for them to get him back here permanently as well. He really is a top class footballer.
Here is Joe Ellington for Newcastle with that streak of blonde hair. Plays it out to the right hand side. Now Miron has seen plenty of the ball in these opening 9 minutes. 0-0 it remains on Premier League Live. We've just got a shot on our monitor of the baseball cap wearing James Maddison surveying proceedings from just behind the dugout. And it was interesting actually reading an article in the Sunday Times this morning, excellent piece by Jonathan Norcroft, and just talking about the fact that Leicester is still very much a united family. Christian Fuchs, one of the miracle men from their title winning season, still part of the squad here, sat next to Maddison. Robert Hoof, quite often no longer a Leicester player, still attends games and still sits on the bench, Andy.
Yeah, I think what they achieved the season they won the Premier League, it was such a special thing for everybody, as it is anytime anyone wins a Premier League medal. But for that group, because it was so unexpected and they got that real siege mentality about them and went on to win it, it's something that they will have that feeling, and they will have that feeling with them teammates for the rest of their lives. I would imagine that a lot of them will keep in touch. They look like they really got on, and it showed out on the pitch as well.
Still incredible, isn't it, when you look at the vast array of money the likes of Manchester City and United and Liverpool and Chelsea can throw at the project, Arsenal as well. But Leicester City managed to win that title.
It was a phenomenal achievement.
It will never be done again, will it?
I can't see it. It felt like every week you're saying, right, well, Leicester are going to slip up this week, they're going to slip up this week, but it was never them that slipped up. There was always the team in second, and it was always the team in third that was slipping up, and they slowly started to edge further and further away. It was, I'm not too far away where I live in the East Midlands, and it was a real special feeling for them. It was such a special thing for them to achieve.
I suppose there are comparisons between what they achieved, what Ranieri achieved, and what Brian Clough did for one of your old Clough, Nottingham Forest, and took a provincial side and made them champions of Europe. Yeah,
well, listen, very much so. There was a lot of similarities to how it was. Don't get me wrong, Leicester had still spent a lot of money, but I suppose back in at that time Nottingham Forest had as well. I think if you to look at what's happened over the last 2 years since then as well, I think with the tragic death of the owner, and it was awful, and I think that's another thing that brought the whole kind of club together and made it feel so. There's a real good steely determination about Leicester, I think, this season to do well.
12 minutes gone here. Leicester 0, Newcastle 0. Andy's old club Nottingham Forest, by the way, going great guns at the top end of the Championship. It's the league that Newcastle are trying to avoid dropping into. It could be a tough one to get out of. Here is Almiron taking on Evans down the right hand side for Newcastle. Lays it back to the edge of the penalty area, and the shot drilled in. Isaac Hayden along the ground. Any kind of touch from Yoshinori Muto, and it may well have been in the back of the net.
Well, I think Muto's got to do a bit better there. It was good play by Newcastle, and it was a good run forward by Almiron. Hayden, he kind of shanks his shot a little bit and kind of drags it across goal. Muto was onside, and he should have got better contact, and he'll be really, really disappointed in that. And it was a good chance, and that might give Newcastle a little bit of positivity, and might give them a bit of confidence that they might be able to get something out of this game.
Here's Evans for Leicester, just inside his own half of the field. Steve Bruce and Brendan Rodgers both out on the edge of their respective technical areas.
Just what we're looking at there, the picture that we're looking at when we look out onto the pitch, we can see that kind of 4-4-1-1 with Muto being one, and then and then Joe Wellington then up top. You know, you can see the real structure to Newcastle's side, and they're shifting across, and Leicester are pulling them across, trying to create them spaces. It's a real tactical game. It's a game of chess.
Exactly what we expected, really. Perez with a cross into the Newcastle area, headed away by Emil Kraft, the Swede. Only as far as Ndidi. Here is Wilfred Ndidi, right in the centre of the Newcastle half. Chilwell available in support. Here is Barnes now. Barnes into Chilwell. These two linking up well down the left-hand side, and Barnes is away from Kraft. Tielemans couldn't hold it up though, and here comes Muto on the attack for Newcastle. He's got Joe Wellington ahead of him. Muto tries to check back on himself, and he's robbed of possession by Ndidi. Then Pratt was caught late by Longstaff, but the referee Craig Pawson allows play to continue. 64% possession for Leicester so far. Here's Ricardo down the right into Tielemans on the edge of the area. Tielemans loops it towards the far post. Barnes will do well to keep that in play though, and in the end wins a corner off Almiron.
Yeah, he's done well to win a corner then. Tielemans is breaking to get into the box. It was a really good ball by Ricardo into him. His touch just bounced up a little bit. He tried to get a shot off, and it was a good block. But Leicester end up getting a corner out of it, and you know, that pressure is just starting to build a little bit. You know, Muto's give away the ball in the last attack for Newcastle there, and he's going to make more of it than that, because now they find themselves facing a corner.
Youri Tielemans, the Belgium international, will take the corner. 15 minutes played, 0-0 the score. Tielemans with a right-footed delivery, headed up and away by Lascelles, and here's Almiron. Plays it through the legs of Pratt, but he was robbed of the ball by Soyuncu. Here is Perez now down the right-hand side. Only Vardy and Tielemans in the centre for Leicester. Towards Tielemans at the far post. He volleys it goalwards into the side netting. Well, Tielemans is convinced it took a deflection. The referee says goal kick for Newcastle.
Oh, it's got to be a corner. You could see it was a clear deflection. I don't know how the referee hasn't seen it. You know, it's all come from a Newcastle attack though, where they're taking too long on the ball. They're just taking too many touches. You know, them counter-attacks, you need to pass the ball quickly, slip somebody in, get the runners going. Newcastle are just taking too many touches on the counter-attack, and that's getting Leicester back in possession. It's putting Newcastle under a bit of pressure.
At TalkSport Live, remember, is our Twitter address. Steve Bond says, listening from Nigeria with a vodka martini, shaken not stirred. VAR is a killjoy for players. It's best you don't pull off a shirt. A yellow card plus no goal equals total killjoy. Warrior says, I pray Leicester beat Newcastle. Second John, good evening presenters. The match will end 2-1 in favour of Leicester City. Henry says this game will surely end in a 1-1 draw. Atsu to make an assist. And Henry is listening over in Ghana, wishing us all the best. Here is Ricardo driving forward for Leicester City and scoring a fantastic opening goal. 16 minutes played. He picked up the ball on the right hand side, Ricardo. He just kept going and going before eventually unleashing and finding the bottom corner. Leicester 1, Newcastle 0.
Wow, what a goal. What a goal. You know, we mentioned him earlier on. We said he's been in really good form. He looks like a really top-class player. Gets the ball in his own half and runs all the way. I'll be very, very disappointed in Christian Atsu there. He half-tracks him, but he kind of gives up a little bit. But Ricardo then on his left foot from the edge of the box, he just curls into the bottom corner, and the keeper has absolutely no chance. It was a brilliant goal from the right back. Really was.
Well, he hadn't scored in 9 months, Ricardo, before netting against Spurs in that comeback victory. He's got 2 in quick succession, and it's a left-footed power driver into the bottom corner. No chance Dubravka. Leicester City off and running, and even at this early stage, given Newcastle's struggle in the final third, you feel it could be a long way back for Steve Bruce's side.
Well, for me there, it just shows the importance of a possession-based team, how important the fullbacks are in a possession-based team. They're so important in an attacking sense. You know, we see it with Man City, how important the fullbacks are. You know, they struggled, Man City, playing the Pep way until they got really good attacking fullbacks going forward, and it's the same in a Brendan Rodgers side. The fullbacks are so important.
Here's Ndidi for Leicester, looking for a second. Out to Barnes on the left-hand side. Barnes takes on Kraft. Little back heel into the feet of Barnes from Chilwell, and here's Chilwell looking for number 2. Good save by the goalkeeper, but he couldn't quite put in the rebound. Chilwell. Leicester City agonisingly close to making it 2-0.
Well, Newcastle are all over the place at the moment. There's people just running off the back of them. You know, there's nobody staying with runners. Leicester are basically able to do whatever they want to do. And there's another goal coming soon here. If Newcastle don't, if they don't get themselves going here, they could find themselves 2 or 3 down in a very, very short space of time.
It's almost a mistake there by Kasper Schmeichel, trying to play the ball out from the back, as the majority of Premier League managers like to do these days. It was just a bit undercooked, but indeed he getting there ahead of Muto, the Japanese international.
If you're going to play out from the back, you have to put the ball at risk. There's no way around that. There's times you put the ball at risk. We've seen Lloris do it yesterday with Tottenham, and it is a part of the game. If you want your keeper on the ball, the keeper's almost like another defender when you're in play. He's passing and he's part of the game, so he has to be good with the ball at his feet, but the ball is going to be at risk at times.
19 minutes played. Leicester 1, Newcastle 0. The goal from Ricardo, the fullback. Leicester won each of the last 12 matches in which they have scored the first goal. Newcastle, who had more than held their own to that point. Big test of character, as much as raw footballing ability now for the men from the northeast. Just going to watch a replay here of the chance for Chilwell. He was onside. Tielemans threading it through. Good save by Dubravka, and then Lascelles just getting there ahead of Chilwell as he looked to tap the rebound into an empty net.
It's a lovely little ball from Tielemans there, the weight of pass, and you get the third man running there with Chilwell. Really, really good play by Leicester. They're full of confidence at the moment, and rightly so. I've spoken to Damien Duff, who worked with Brendan Rodgers for the last couple of years at Celtic before he left, and Damien speaks so highly of him. He says the way he wants his teams to play, the freedom that he gives them, the structure that he gives them. The players love playing for him tactically, so aware of what's going on during a game, and all week they're prepared really, really well, and you can see that when they go out on the pitch.
So views of the former Republic of Ireland midfielder Andy Reid here on Premier League Live. Do get your questions coming at TalkSport Live as the Twitter address. As Jose Perez comes forward for Leicester down their right hand side, it's switched out to Chilwell on this near side of the field. Now Barnes up against Kraft. Difficult afternoon so far for Emil Kraft, restored to the lineup. Cross from Barnes slightly overhit, and it will be a goal kick for Newcastle and a chance to relieve some of the pressure. Newcastle, who had just who afforded Brighton 71% possession at St James's Park in their last home game. It was a club record for the Seagulls in Premier League terms, and I'd imagine the stats are pretty similar in these opening 21 minutes here. It's going to be a difficult watch for Newcastle fans this season, regardless of whether they can cement their place in the top flight or not. And I have to say, Andy, they are one of my favourites to go down. Yeah,
it's difficult to see them staying up. To be honest with you, it's such a great big club that it's not great to be saying that. But the fans will see it when 71% possession. Listen, away from home you can play against good teams and you have to sit back in and you give away. But at home, it's a damning stat. I would suggest at home, and you can understand why the fans would be disappointed with it.
Here's Kraft, plays the ball forward down the right. Natsu challenged by Sayuncu. It will be a throw in for Newcastle as the rain continues to pour. Almiron thought about taking it quickly, leaves it for Kraft in the end. Kraft, who was part of the Sweden side that played against England in the World Cup quarter-final. £5 million signing from Amiens over in France over the course of the summer. Here is Lascelles stepping out from the back, hurdling the challenge from Tielemans and rolling it out to the left-hand side. Dummett will bring it forward, but his pass is a poor one, and here's Jose Perez. Plays it back to Ndidi Perez. Now out to the right, and Vardy, who's come very deep. Vardy with a little clip over the top. Ricardo again looking to cause problems inside the penalty area. His foot was a little high, caught Fabian Schär in the face, and it will be a free kick for Newcastle. I think he was entitled to challenge for the ball, Ricardo, despite The look of disgust on the face of Cher, the Switzerland defender. No malice intended. I'm not sure there was much contact in actual fact.
Yeah, he didn't even catch him. He's made the most of that there, hasn't he? Probably a free kick though. His foot was high. And this takes a little bit of pressure off Newcastle. It's what they needed. You know, they need to just kind of get themselves back into the game, get over the shock of that goal, and you know, just trying to assert a little bit of authority, show something a little bit going forward if they can.
Here is Joe Ellington looking to do that. I mentioned Newcastle's record siding too often in this first half. They're going to have to kick the ball out here because Newcastle have got to play it down. Steve Bruce coming out to point that out. It is Cher holding his ankle. Jamie Vardy has come over the touchline in discussion with Brendan Rodgers. I think Cher was caught late by Vardy as he went to clear the ball upfield. He'll be fortunate there, Jamie Vardy, to escape the yellow card. Didn't make any contact with the ball, and Cher felt the force to challenge and is now down being treated.
Yeah, they can be painful ones, them.
It is a yellow card for Jamie Vardy.
That's probably about the right call. You know, it's a typical striker's challenge, that, isn't it? He's just got there a little bit too late and left a little bit on him.
Jamie Vardy deep in conversation now with the referee Craig Pawson. We've played 24 minutes. You're listening to Premier League Live. It is Leicester City 1, Newcastle 0. The goal scored on 16 minutes by Ricardo. Continuing Leicester's good run under Brendan Rodgers. Only Liverpool and Manchester City have taken more points in the Premier League since Rodgers took over as manager, replacing Claude Puel, of course. And Leicester, I think, most people's favourites, that if the usual top six stranglehold is to be broken up, they will be the team to do it. I think they're showing just why in these opening 25 minutes. A very professional, composed performance from the home team thus far. Interesting run of games coming up for Leicester. They go to Liverpool next, then Burnley at home, which is never easy, and Southampton away. I suppose that Liverpool game, Andy, will be a real test of their aspirations to crash into that top six. Yeah,
very much so. I think this season Liverpool are very much the benchmark. You know, don't get me wrong, Man City will be there or thereabouts, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Man City winning it again, but Liverpool have started like a house on fire. They've started where they finished off last season, really on it. They're so difficult to play against. They don't give you a second, and you know, I think Man City are the only ones that really struggle that they play against. When they play against Liverpool, they struggle, and Leicester will find it difficult to play against that because Liverpool will press the life out of them high up the pitch, and they won't give them a second. Where, you know, we look at the Newcastle front two and the midfield forward are all dropped off. They're all in their own half. That won't happen against Liverpool. Liverpool have pressed them high up the park, so it will be a different challenge for Leicester in that Liverpool game.
Seems to recall they did get a point at Anfield last season, Leicester, around about Christmas time, when Liverpool were having their wobble that ultimately cost them the title. Of course, Jamie Vardy loves scoring against the big six. He has a phenomenal strike record. Vardy here looking to put Cher under pressure inside the Newcastle penalty area. Cher having shrugged off that earlier injury, and he's played upfield by Dummett, the Welsh international. One back by Ndidi, working tirelessly in front of that Leicester back four. One of the unsung heroes, really, as far as the Foxes are concerned. Here's Chilwell down the left hand side. Challenge coming in from Kraft, and the ball bounces off the knee of Chilwell and behind for a goal kick for Newcastle.
You know, you mentioned Ndidi there, and I look at this Leicester side and I see real balance all over the park. You know, you've got left-sided centre-back and the left back, and the left-sided centre-back is left-footed, which is great. You know, you can keep the play going, and that's not always the case. You look at Vardy can make runs over the top, and you've got Perez can come in, and Harvey Barnes can come into them pockets. Tielemans can get on and support when he wants, and Ndidi kind of mops up behind, and then you've got Chilwell and Ricardo in the full-back areas. There's a real good balance to this Leicester side.
Joe Ellington lays it off on the halfway line, gets it back. Joe Ellington wearing that famous number 9 on the back of the black and white Newcastle shirt. Muto can't get it out from under his feet. Didi scrapping to win it back for Leicester once more, and here's Tielemans. We've got plenty of men forward here, Leicester. Newcastle bodies committed upfield. Tielemans slows the game down though to almost a walking pace, and then taps it into the centre circle. It's sprayed out down this left-hand side to Ben Chilwell. Here's Tielemans again. Ricardo's made a good run to the right if they can find him. Pratt into the feet of Ricardo, the Leicester goal scorer. Here's Perez. Now Tielemans again. Overhit the pass despite the applause from Ricardo, the intended recipient of it, and it will be a throw-in for Newcastle deep inside their own half of the field. 1-0 Leicester lead.
The pitch is starting to get very, very wet now. You know, you can see it. It's starting to stick a little bit at times, and at other times it's starting to skid really, really fast. So I'd imagine there's a few kind of puddles kind of getting coming up on the pitch there. Well, if that continues like that, it will start to make it a little bit more difficult for Leicester to play that passing game.
I think we can say summer is safely over, looking at the dank and dreary conditions. Newcastle have a free kick. 4 shots for Leicester so far, just the 1 for Newcastle. And here is Emil Kraft down the tomb right. Joe Ellington grappling with Soyuncu, but he couldn't keep the ball. And here's Barnes. Vardy waiting for the cross at the far post. Wasn't the worst ball in. Flying punch clear by the goalkeeper Dubravka. Pratt with a shot which is saved by the legs. Leicester coming on strong here. Ricardo, the goal scorer, right-footed cross blocked by Atsu. Will be a corner for the Foxes, their second of the afternoon.
Well, you've just seen a great example there of a counter press where Leicester have waited, and they've waited for Newcastle, and then they've gone and they've hunted in packs and won the ball back in their own in the Newcastle defensive third. And Harvey Barnes has played a lovely ball into the box there and gave the keeper a real problem.
Half an hour play. Leicester 1, Newcastle 0. Corner again will be taken by Tielemans on the right hand side this time. Chilwell had a free run at it at the far post. It was a really important header by Schär in the end, and here comes Schär down the Newcastle right, looking to hit Leicester on the counter. That's a dreadful ball. Abysmal pass from Fabian Schär. He had Mutu crying out for the ball in the middle, and he couldn't find him.
Has he tried to shoot there? Has he tried to shoot? He can't have missed the pass by that much. Surely he can't have missed the pass by that much.
Well, he had a look up, Schär. I think he was trying to shoot. Maybe Kasper Schmeichel slightly off the goal line. Well, David Beckham against Wimbledon, it was not.
Well, listen, Schär is no David Beckham. He's not a bad player, but he's no David Beckham. If I was a manager there, and you can imagine Steve Bruce is tearing his hair out, because that was a really good breakaway position for them from their own defensive corner. They were defending a corner and they broke away. It was a really well worked corner as well by Leicester, and Chilwell was very unlucky not to get in on the end of that.
14 minutes to go until half time. That goal from Ricardo on 16 minutes still separates the sides. Ricardo clears the ball into the Newcastle half. Hunting in packs here, the Foxes, and the clearance from Schär, turn of eventful opening 31 minutes, goes out for a throw. Brendan Rodgers in his grey Leicester City raincoat, still patrolling the touchline. Here's Tielemans, well forward, back to Pratt. Leicester very calm and considered in possession. It's back with Soyuncu, 10 yards inside the home half of the field. This is Chilwell, forward for Barnes, who tries a little flick looking for Tielemans, didn't quite come off. And here's Almiron on the attack for Newcastle United. Good run by Kraft with a cross, guided away at the near post by Chilwell. Longstaff shoved in the back by Tielemans, and a free kick for Newcastle halfway inside the Leicester half.
It was positive play by Newcastle there down the right hand side, Almiron and Longstaff, and it's not a bad ball into the box. Newcastle just need a little bit more positivity like that. You know, they just need to just get a little bit of something, get a shot on goal, you know, just to let Leicester know that they're still in the game, because it's been too easy for Leicester so far in this opening half an hour.
There was a big fanfare when they signed Miguel Almiron. No goals or assists in 16 games though for Newcastle for the Paraguayan. The free kick is played straight into the arms of Kasper Schmeichel, the orange-shirted Leicester goalkeeper wearing the captain's armband halfway down his left arm. He bowls it out for Pratt. Now Tielemans. Those two linking up well in the middle of the park for Leicester. Here's Pratt once again inside the centre circle. Back for Ndidi, who gives the likes of Pratt licensed to roam alongside Yuri Tillemans. Steve Bruce still trying to cajole his players from inside the technical area. Cher does well, stepping across to dispossess Pratt, and it's swept clear. Johnny Evans, facing his own goal, takes no chances. Side puts it into the feet of Schmeichel. We've got a little over 12 minutes of the first half remaining. Leicester 1, Newcastle 0. For those of you just joining us, Ricardo with a goal on 16 minutes, a run that started inside his own half. A 1-2 with Perez, and then a fine left-footed effort into the corner from around about 19 yards.
It's lovely play there from Leicester, you know, the play now from the keeper, with using the centre backs, using the full backs, and then into midfielder. It's really, really pretty on the eye.
It's a different role for Jose Perez than the one that he was so accustomed to at St James's Park, where he was often in that number 10 role, the one that Muto is occupying this afternoon, or even as an out-and-out striker. Dropping a lot deeper. Here is Atsu into the penalty area for Newcastle. Skies his shot over the crossbar. It's going to reduce the number of chances that Perez gets to add to his goal tally.
Yeah, I would say on it, I think he's a smashing player. I really do. My only criticism of him, I think he probably drifts in and out of games a little bit too much. You know, he's a smashing player. I'd like to see him using his ability, you know, coming and demanding the ball, getting on it a little bit more, and really dictating the game as well. You know, I think he's all right when the ball comes to him, but sometimes you have to go and demand the ball a little bit more. And the only reason I say that is because I do think he has the ability to do it.
Ricardo, no questioning his ability, sweeps it forward for Leicester, but it's run back by Newcastle with Lascelles. Now Longstaff just inside the Leicester half. Longstaff, I think, hoped that Almiron had made a run. He hadn't, and it will be a goal kick now for Leicester.
Again, that's where Newcastle need to be a bit cleverer in possession. They need to just be on the ball a little bit more and, you know, keep possession, not trying to force it a little bit too much when they get it.
Ricardo hammers his clearance against Atsu, and it will be a throw in for Leicester. % possession for Leicester, 35 for Newcastle. 1-0 the Foxes lead. Looking pretty comfortable in that lead. Here's Sayuncu forward, Chilwell to the left hand side. Chilwell over the halfway line, comes infield. Indeed, he's got some space. Ricardo has his arm in the air and wants the pass. He was slightly behind the goal scorer. Still Leicester have the ball. Ricardo goes back for Evans. Here is Sayuncu now, number 4, on the back of his dark blue Leicester City jersey. Here is Chilwell once more for the home side. Leicester have won only 2 of their last 18 Premier League matches played on a Sunday. Looking to end that run. So far so good. It's catch for Schmeichel, plays it out to the right hand side, and Ricardo. Pratt coming deep, back to Evans. Schmeichel once more. Leicester passing the life out of Newcastle in these last couple of minutes. Schmeichel goes a bit more direct, punts it forward. Atsu wins the header on the halfway line. Again, sloppy in possession. Leicester, a little header from Barnes, looking to release Tillemans. Lascelles there ahead of Yuri Tillemans, and it's cleared upfield by Dubravka, but it wasn't the best of clearances. Lascelles here, back inside the penalty area, taps it back to Dubravka again, who will play it high into the Leicestershire sky this time, and it bounces off Almiron and out for a throw.
I think it's situations like that Newcastle have to be really, really careful. You know, the press, they've tried to press Leicester high the pitch, but only half the team has gone and pressed, and they've left a big hole in the middle of the park, and they've got good players. Leicester have got good players that will fill them spaces and get on the ball. If they're going to press, they need to press the whole team together.
Jamie Vardy
drop everyone off.
Looking to force the error from Cher. Wins a corner. Cher convinced he should have made a goal kick, but I think the smile says it all. Leicester City's 3rd corner of these opening 38 minutes, and Yuri Tillemans again will be the man to deliver. Johnny Evans and Sayuncu yet to score for Leicester come forward. Ndidi has plenty of ability in the air. Vardy and Perez there just look for any knockdowns. Here comes Tielemans. It's a right-footed out swinger. Oh, it's a good ball. Indeed, he climbed, but couldn't make contact, and it's out for a throw. Half a chance.
Yeah, it was a decent ball. Really was. There was good pace on it. Indeed, he'll probably feel he'd done a little bit better, but I think Shar was it right at the last minute. He just kind of nudged into him and put him off his stride. Newcastle would be very, very disappointed, I would imagine, if they give away a goal from set piece today. They've got good height in the side.
7 minutes to go until half time. Leicester 1, Newcastle 0. Free kick conceded by Sean Longstaff on Dennis Pratt. So free kick for Leicester, and a chance again to put the ball into the Newcastle penalty area. Tielemans again, looks like he fancies the responsibility. Chilwell has come across as well to the right hand side, although I think will just act as a decoy, as he fancies playing this in left footed. Chilwell, Soyuncu with that swept back hair has come forward. Johnny Evans as well, looking to add to his few Leicester City goals. Hasn't scored since February, Johnny Evans. It will be Tielemans, too close to the goalkeeper. Dubravka catches the cross cleanly enough.
Well, Newcastle held a good line there on the edge of the box, and it didn't give much room to kind of walk in. If Leicester had gone in earlier, then they would have been offside, so it meant the keeper could come and claim it. So it was good organisation there. You know, Steve Bruce will have them well drilled from set pieces, so they will know what they're doing.
Well, chip forward, looking for Joe Ellington. Atsu controls neatly on the chest and away from Perez. Can get away from Ricardo, the goal scorer, though. Showing his defensive qualities there, Ricardo. And Newcastle have a throw with 5 minutes of the first half remaining. Leicester have conceded only one first half goal all season. Never really been in danger so far of adding to that tally. Here is Wilfred Ndidi, who plays it out to Perez on the right hand side. Couldn't find Vardy on the halfway line. Cher steps in and clips it forward. Amaron was lurking inside the penalty area. Chilwell had to head it clear for Leicester. Here's Atsu, robbed by Perez, and now Pratt back to Ricardo in the right back position. Vardy stoops and heads it into the path of Tielemans, sprays it quickly out to Barnes. Chilwell bursting forward on the overlap. Here is Chilwell. His cross charged down by Emil Kraft for another corner for the home side.
Kraft has defended really, really well there. He didn't commit himself to going to Harvey Barnes. He kind of waited half and half and was able to block the ball then when it did go to Chilwell. So that was decent defending by him there, and sometimes you get outnumbered, you have to make a decision what you needed to do, and I thought he played that really, really well. But again, Newcastle have another corner to defend here.
4 minutes remaining in the first half. Youri Tielemans will take Leicester's fourth corner. Short to the edge of the area this time. Chilwell crosses left-footed, headed away by Jamal Lascelles. Ricardo urged to shoot by the Leicester fans from a long way out. Sensibly instead plays it forward for Ndidi. Harvey Barnes now. Chilwell. Plenty of Leicester City players forward. Evans is still up from the back. Tielemans cross, headed over. Jamie Vardy from 8 yards out couldn't keep it down.
Now, it was a great ball in by Tielemans, and Vardy has just got a little bit too much on it. He just needed a glance. The pace was already on the cross. He didn't need to get any power on it. He just needed to glance a little bit. Just caught the wrong side of his head.
Jamie Vardy, who scored 3 goals in his last 4 in the Premier League. In fact, only Sergio Aguero and Sadio Mane have found the net on more occasions than Vardy this calendar year. Not bad for a player who cost £1 million from Fleetwood. Probably one of the bargains of the century, Andy.
Oh, you know, absolutely. You can't say enough about him, from where he's come from to what he's achieved. It's absolutely second to none, really. And just look at the company that he's being mentioned in there. You know, you say Aguero and Mane and Salah and all these people. You know, and Vardy's, he's probably not just there yet, but he's just kind of below it.
Here's Joe Ellington for Newcastle. Longstaff coming onto the ball, but looked ungainly, couldn't get the shot away. And then there's a late challenge here. Dennis Pratt has gone down. It's a straight red card. for Isaac Hayden. Well, the studs were up, and Newcastle's desperate start to the season goes from bad to worse. The referee, Craig Paulson, no hesitation. It looked a nasty challenge to the naked eye, and Isaac Hayden has been sent for an early bath here. Went flying into the challenge, and Newcastle are going to have to see out the rest of this game, Andy Reid, with 10 men. It's a terrible tackle.
It was very naughty tackle. He's gone in and he's won the ball first, but he's followed through his leg, and he could have broke his leg. That
is a disgusting challenge from Isaac Hayden, and how anybody can defend it, and how Isaac Hayden can leave the pitch with his arms outstretched as if he's been the victim of miscarriage of justice is beyond me, because he will know that was a potential leg breaker.
The problem that you've got with that there is that he'd already won the ball. He didn't need to do it. He had already won the ball. It's a poor tackle. It really is. He could have seriously hurt him there. And I hope Pratt is okay.
It's a horrible challenge.
And I'll tell you what, he's got some answering to do to his teammates as well. They're already on the back foot. It's a difficult place to come with 11 men. They're 1-0 down, and just before half time he goes and does something silly like that. His team have to play the whole of the second half now with 10 men. He's let his teammates down there massively.
Dennis Pratt is down receiving treatment. I think he will be okay, thankfully. Isaac Hayden dismissed, and Steve Bruce is going to react by bringing on Key, the Korean. So it's going to be a change of system here for the team who are already 1-0 down. Dennis Pratt just taking a drink from the water bottle. I just don't understand, Andy, how Isaac Hayden could leave the pitch protesting his innocence after making that kind of lunge tackle. And Jamal Lascelles, I hope he's just checking that Dennis Pratt is okay there. For a moment I thought he was giving him a verbal volley. I'll give Lascelles the benefit of the doubt. Pratt hobbling back to his feet.
Yeah, listen, I think he knows when you're on the pitch and them things happen, you get a real feel for them straight away. You know that it's a bad tackle. You know by the way the player's gone down. Sometimes if you're right close to it, by the noise of the tackle, you can hear it sometimes. So, there's no defending that. He's gone. I'm just glad that Pratt hasn't got a broken leg there, because he could easily have a broken leg there. It's right on where his shin pad is there.
We're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Haven't yet seen how many minutes will be added. It's one of those that looks worse and worse every time you see it from Isaac Hayden.
I would imagine it'll probably be Muto or Atsu maybe coming off, is it?
And Key is on for Newcastle.
Muto.
And it does mean a premature end to the afternoon for Yoshinori Muto.
So they will go 4-4-1. Key will go back to play in the middle of the park, and it'll be Joe Ellington up front on his own. It's been a tough day for him already. We spoke about Joe Ellington. Is he going to be able to shine? How can you expect him to do anything? He hasn't had any service today, and now he's down to 10 men, and you almost kind of feel for him. You come in with the expectations on your shoulders, with a big price tag, and you want to be given a good opportunity, i.e. chances and opportunities to link up play, and he just hasn't had that since he's come in at Newcastle.
3 added minutes at the end of the first half. We've played one of them already. Leicester leading 10-man Newcastle by a goal to nil. Scored by the man on the ball now, Ricardo. Perez back to Ricardo. Showed too much of it to Atsu. Newcastle are going to have to try and get bodies forward here. Almiron robbed by Ndidi, and then the ball strikes the referee, Craig Pawson, and as is the new convention, he's going to have to return it to the team that were in possession. Dropped it down for Key. Here is Jamal Lascelles out to the right hand side, and Kraft the right back to Lascelles, who's quickly closed down by Jamie Vardy. Just about manages to smuggle it back to the goalkeeper Dubravka, who had to be on his toes. And here comes Fabian Schär forward for Newcastle, straight to Chilwell though. It's just over a minute of added time remaining in this first half of the King Power. Leicester leading Newcastle by a goal to nil. Newcastle down to 10 men following the dismissal of Isaac Hayden for a straight red card. Here is Yuri Tillemans now for Leicester, looking for a second goal before the break. Barnes can get a shot away. Barnes with the effort, always rising and behind for a goal kick.
Well, again, it was absolutely